Oh man, I'm exhausted. What a day. It has been interesting, to say the least. The roofing is taking longer than we expected. Slate is a nightmare to work with.
Yeah, it's very tedious, I would say.
We're going to have to pull a late one. I am slightly delirious at this point. We've had so many logistical challenges.
No, that's well off.
Wow, that's real life. It doesn't always go perfectly. Honestly, it's been a roller coaster week. 1 week ago, this beautiful house in London looked like this, but now it looks like this. If you haven't seen us before, we're Artisan Electrics. We are electricians based in the UK who specialise in renewable energy, and we make YouTube videos about it. So this is a very exciting project for multiple reasons. One, we're using a new inverter and battery system that we've never used before that claims to have some amazing features. Number two, this is a huge system. One of the biggest residential systems we've installed before. It's a 3-phase, 25 kilowatt inverter, 74 panels in total, 48 here on the flat roof and 26 over there on the pitched roof on the house. And it's a perfectly south-facing system, so it's going to generate huge amounts of energy for our customer. But we've got some heavy lifting to do to get up all the materials onto this roof, so we'll get on with that. I think if I get on the ladder in the middle... So the system we're installing here is very similar to the one that we did at the tennis court. I'll leave a video up here where you can watch that. We basically fitted an entire solar farm on an old tennis court, which was awesome. But this is on a flat roof, and this is actually what this Vandervolk flat roof mounting system is supposed to be used for. This is what we call cable basket. It's a bit like cable tray, but it's lighter, it's made of wire. And what we're going to be doing is running our PV cables along this to protect them, to keep them up off the roof, to run everything neatly and safely. We're going to be using PV Ultra cable today, which is a very special cable. I'll talk to you about that a little bit more later. And we've got these rubber feet which just protect the roof, so we've not got any sharp metal on this EDPM roof, and that will just fix down with a nice clamp. But we're just roughly laying everything out at the moment, so that we know that we've got all the parts that we need, and then it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You just put it piece by piece, work it all together and follow the plan. So behind me on the slate roof, our roofers are getting all the hooks in for that. Now, slate roofing can be a little bit tricky, and we've got a clever little tool that we're going to be using today to make it a bit easier, so we'll show you that a little bit later. But there's a lot of hooks to go in that roof.
1, 2, 3. Have this done today, won't we? Job complete.
Yeah.
No, that's well off. But then I think this wants pushing more because there's a massive gap down that end.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think we could easily fit with 8 rows.
So what gap have we got at the moment? Measure it all and then half it. 1700 basically. 850 is it?
Yeah.
We'll eye it up so there's a bit of an edge. I mean, as long as it's rough, once you put the panels, it's going to square it all off.
If we put those joining rails on from there now, we can get the exact measurement.
This is the width the rails need to be, isn't it?
Well, so we put them on here.
So if this is on the end and we put a mark on it and then move it along,
the centre of the... That's it, yeah. So what we're doing here is we are measuring these brackets right here, and we're just going to space them out a little bit just so they're exact.
Play that back. So while the guys are finishing off laying out everything on the flat roof there, I'm up here on this slate roof. If you don't know about slate, it's a little bit more complicated to work with than normal tiles because the slates are nailed down with like copper nails. They don't have these kind of wavy gaps underneath like you do on like pan tiles or concrete tiles. They're very thin as well, so many of the roofs that we do are concrete tiles or pan tiles, and you can just angle grind a bit out of the tile and you can sit the tile straight over the roof hook, so you don't need to actually cut the tile and put a flashing kit around or anything like that, whereas with slate you do. So we've called in a bit of help from Ryan here. He's got some experience with slate roofs, in addition to our usual roofer, the SIG, who shall remain anonymous. Together they're working their way through this slate roof quite quickly actually. They're doing really well, but we'll show you a few little details about this. So there's a few techniques for getting these copper nails out. Now, you might wonder, why do they use copper nails on slate roofs? And it's interesting, our roofer was just telling me that the reason is because the nails need to last as long as the slates, and as you've probably seen from traditional slate roof houses in the Lake District or things like that, slate roofs last a very long time. So you want the nails to last as long, and copper obviously doesn't corrode, doesn't rust, it will last as long as the slates. So that's why they use copper nails. It gives us another way of doing it. So this is called the roof tooth, and this is not sponsored, but they have sent it to me to try out. And I don't usually do this, but I'm going to show it because I think it's quite a cool little invention. So basically the idea is you can slide it up underneath the slate, you just lift that, and then it's got like this hacksaw blade essentially. It will basically allow you to just hacksaw your way through the nail and cut the nail off, and then you can lift the slate without having to rip it. Maybe hardcore roofers will be like, oh, you don't need that, you know, use the traditional methods. This is probably good for our solar installers who don't rip tons of slates and are not that confident with it. I would certainly feel more comfortable using this and hacksawing through them rather than ripping the thing out and hoping that it doesn't tear the slate or smash the slate up. So Skip's just arrived and we've got somewhere to put all our rubbish, because believe it or not, there's quite a lot of packaging that comes out of all this stuff. Looking at that thinking, that's quite big actually, and then I didn't realise it was inside the other one. So the team's got the first row of panels here on. These are 445 watt bifacial all black panels. They're about the highest powered bifacial panel that we could get hold of right now anyway at the moment. Essentially with the bifaciality and the fact that it's on a flat roof, you're going to get reflected light off of the flat roof as well underneath the panel, and you'll get a little bit of extra generation from that side as well. So that's why we spec these. We are, as I said in our previous video, we're pretty much speccing bifacial panels for most of our projects now, because they're not that much more expensive, but they just give that extra little bit of generation, which we think is worth it. First row's on, and what the guys are doing now is just sort of measuring that out so that that's nice and square, and then all the other rows can go from that then, and it should be quite easy and simple to just put them in. So basically how this system works is it's rails on these rubber feet. The rubber feet just serve to take the weight, spread it evenly on top of this flat roof without obviously any sharp bits of metal risking penetrating the roof. It's a ballasted system. What that means is that we have to put weight on it in order to hold it down, because obviously you get a bit of uplift if the wind is strong. So we have to do special calculations. Vandervolk have a free planning tool that we use. It's really great because it means we can lay out all the panels, and then it gives us a full bill of materials, so we know exactly what we need, how much weight we need, and then with the weight we can do structural calculations to make sure that the existing roof can take that weight. So in this case we've got these 9 kilo slabs that are going to go on here, and we just spread them across. These are called mass carriers, so they just space out evenly and you put the slabs on there, and I think all the way around the outside we've got 3 slabs on each, and then on the inside we've just got 1 slab on each, and that will be enough to hold everything down firmly. Then the panels just sit in here, and this is a mid clamp that just clamps down to either side. Another mid clamp here for the bottom of the panel, just slots in like that, and then on the ends you've got end clamps, because that's obviously the final end. Now you will notice that these are silver, and obviously we've got all black panels, so they don't look amazing with the silver fixings, and Vandervolk don't do black ones, but they do these little black covers. So we're going to pop those over at the end, and that'll be a nice finishing touch.
$32, 6,
34, 35, 36.
38.
So you're only stripping enough to get across to a panel there.
Yeah.
And then the other one can go across to that corner panel. So them 3 are on one string, and you don't need to make any extra links because all the panels will plug into each other. And then it's just link from this one over to the other roofs.
So welcome to the pool house, where below us is going the battery storage system, and there's an amazing plant room down here. Let's check it out. Welcome to the plant room. So as electricians, we dream of being able to work in rooms like this, you know? I mean, look at this beautiful pipe work. They've got this whole amazing central heating system going in here. They've got a big panel board here with MCCBs feeding different parts of the main house, and all of this plant equipment, which is basically for the pool heating the house, etc. And down here is where we get to fit our equipment too, in this even cable tray in place ready for us to run our cables. So it's a very nice setup. So as you can see, we've got a 3-phase supply here, which means we need 3-phase inverter, 3-phase backup power. And that's where the system that we're installing in this particular case is quite unique, because it offers 3-phase backup power, which, as far as I know, there's nothing else out on the market that does that really at the moment. So I'm quite excited to fit this system. Now we're going to be putting a backup gateway here, and then that will basically instantly switch over. So it's actually UPS, the system. It will instantly switch over in the event of a power cut and run the whole house off of the 48 kilowatt hours of battery storage that we're installing. It's a stackable system. It's from a company called SIG Energy, and we're going to be doing a dedicated video about this product because it's just there's so much to talk about with it. So if you want to watch that, click the link up here if the video has gone live already, and you can see the full in-depth install of this battery storage system, because it is quite unique. We've got an inverter that's going to go at the top, and then the stacks of batteries below it, and it means that our DC cables from our solar up on the roof here and the roof in the house are going to need to come back to here. So one of the jobs that we've got to do is run in our PV Ultra cables from our 2 different arrays back to here and get them ready to connect into the inverter. We've even got a patch panel to easily run all our data back to, and a bit of rainbow spaghetti there. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, then there, rainbow spaghetti. Now you might not realise it, but we're actually underground here. Above me is the garage where we have offloaded the batteries, and we're going to need to carry them down here. But actually this hatch is like a loading bay, because imagine, how do you get these huge air handling units down into the basement? You can't get them down the stairs, you can't carry them, you've got to lift them down. Well, that hatch allows you to basically winch stuff down. The customer did offer that if we had a winch that would clamp onto a steel girder, that we could actually winch everything down. But actually these battery modules are not too heavy, so we're going to carry them by hand. But it's a pretty cool feature, and just like, I love working in plant rooms like this, it's so cool. Yeah, so this is that hatch that I was talking about. And basically this can lift off, although I imagine it's pretty heavy. There's a steel girder here, so what you can do is clamp a winch onto there, and then you can winch stuff straight down into the plant room below. Right, so our customer has recently had a brand new baby, and it's the cutest baby in the world. And he said, as part of the tradition for when a new baby is born in their culture, they give desserts to their visitors. So they've had family coming and going all day to see the new baby, and they've been giving everyone desserts, and they've given us desserts as well. This is called kheer, and it's like an Indian rice pudding, apparently. It looks delicious, and it's going to get the Artisan taste test. Oh, it's nice. It's like rice pudding, a little bit more mushy, with like nuts and pistachios and stuff. Delicious. So the lovely chaps at Doncaster Cables, they are innovators, and they've made this new cable called PV Ultra. And basically it's a bit like the EV Ultra cable that we use for doing EV charger installs. It's very clever, and it's designed to make electricians' lives easier and just kind of do a better job than what's out there at the moment. So it's DC cable, double insulated like normal DC cable, and then it's within a tough outer sheath, but it's super flexible like this. So it's strong, resistant against impact and things like that, but it's also really easy to work with, easy to strip back. This is a 4-core 6mm PV Ultra cable, which means it's large enough for us to do a fairly long run of DC, because we've got to run from the 2 strings of solar on the roof of the main house here over to the plant room in the basement to the inverter, and that's what we're going to use this for. So inside you can see you've got the reds and the whites, so red is positive, white is negative, double insulated single cores, then you've got the bedding, and then you've got the tough outer sheath, and as you can see it's really flexible, which is quite surprising for such a thick cable. So we're trying to get a hole drilled in the soffit here for the PV Ultra cable to go through. It's a 32mm hole with a compression gland, so that it's nice and strong, it's not going to get damaged by the metal, etc. However, seems to be some wood on the other side of it. We've got to try and figure out how to get through that wood and get a lock ring or lock nut on the other side. It's like one of those tiny jobs, a little bit faffy and complicated. Got the old DJ spinners spinning up electricians all over the world. It's called the Runpotec X board. It's another thing that we got introduced to by Doncaster Cables when we visited them. We actually did a video installing EV chargers at their factory, and we did like a factory tour of how cable's made. They're not the sponsor of today's video, but I just like their products. Dirty DeWalt tools. So I don't know if you've seen on Instagram or TikTok by any chance, but I posted a little update about this. This is the new member of the Artisan fleet, and I am quite excited about this. It's been a long time in the making. Do you want a little tour? Let me take you around. So this is the brand new Ford Transit Custom, and it's pretty new to the market. This is the diesel one, but we're getting the electric one soon. This is where I like pinch myself for a moment and go, I can't believe Ford have given us a van. I'll be honest with you, this was gifted to us by Ford to do some influencer marketing for, not including this YouTube video. I'm just like super happy to talk about it because it's such a cool van. But essentially we've got to do a few bits of content on TikTok about it. It's convenient because you might have seen in a video that I did earlier in the year, I was trying to sell the Caddy, and that was the van that I always used when I was back working. Now I've got this. And it's a work in progress, okay? But let me show you a little bit inside. So they've literally racked it out exactly how we wanted it. They've given us the full spec that we wanted. They've sign written it. They've given us the pipe tubes. We've got the whole Sortimo racking like I had before in the previous Caddy with the drawers. So I've just gone for the raised floor, Sortimo floor with all the drawers, and then I've gone for Milwaukee pack out bases, and I can just click all my tools and bits and pieces in and out of there. And the reason is because I'm living in France half of the time. This van is then available as a pool car for other staff members, for the guys when their vans might be in the garage or whatever. We can mix and match. And also what it means is that they can basically get to grips with this van and tell me if they like it, because ultimately I'd like to go over to a uniform fleet. At the moment we've got a VW Transporter, we've got a Ford Transit Custom but the older version, and then we've got this. I would like to unify the fleet and go with all these if they're actually good enough. So it gives us some time to properly test it. So I'm not going to bore you with all the details because it's not a van review video, but if you are interested in seeing a bit more content about this, do follow us on TikTok and Instagram, because we post regular updates on there in more of a short form fashion, and we're going to be doing particularly some TikToks about this. At least you get your workout, you can't go to the gym while you're here. Wow. Good morning. It is Tuesday and we're day 2 of this project, and of course it's raining. Let me take you through the jungle. We had a few issues with materials yesterday, which meant that we couldn't get the roof completely sealed up. We're waiting for the flashings. Guys are doing the outside work today. They're pulling this PV Ultra cable in. It's got to go in this duct down here, which goes all the way round over to here. Lee's taking one for the team and digging the conduit disc in. Ruben is trying to clear some space. Basically where it comes up, we've got to split the duct, then the duct is going to continue along here. Then we've got to drill through the wall and get the cable through here, get the duct along through here, and then we've got to drill down through the concrete, reinforced concrete, into the plant room. What do we call this, Ruben?
Cobra.
Cobra. So it's like a very small yellow snake, and it goes in there, and then Luke has got it at the other side. Now we're going to have to drill through this brick pier here, pull all the slack through, and then pull it through the duct, I think. Right, so Ruben's got the hole drill through there now. Cable's through. We've pulled it all the way through. Meanwhile, our roofers are busy up on the slippery slate roof, trying to get the last slates cut for the top row, and then hopefully these Genius flashings are going to be arriving about 10:30, and they can kind of crack on. Lee's getting the conjure disc in. Grave digger Lee.
As long as it's not my grave.
This is tough, Rick.
Oh wow. Can you not drill down at an angle?
We tried, but I don't know, I think...
You keep slipping?
Yeah, I think we're going to need to go even bigger than this, to be honest, like a Corbett, maybe at 50mm.
Yeah, because we've got the earth to
hole
go
in the
through
earth, so...
and the PV Ultra. So Lee's about to use this beautiful Hilti cold cut metal saw to cut some unistrut. It's the first time we're using it. Let's see how it goes. Wow. I mean, that literally took like a minute to cut like 8 pieces. Right, well that is a pretty impressive bit of kit, I've got to say. I mean, there was no sparks. Been busy here, but I've just been over to Screwfix to grab a few bits and CEF. Guys are doing well here. Basket is going on the wall. Luke finally managed to get through there. We found that there was a cable just on the other side. Fortunately, we went just below it. That was a lucky escape there. And Luke is going to be cutting a hole through here. We're going to go through into garage, then drop down into the plant room, clip it through the plant room to where the inverter is going to go. And I got him a shiny new core drill because
shiny much longer.
Absolutely wrecked Lee's one. This Hilti drill has taken a battering today. We're really testing it to the max. Now the other thing that's happened is the flashing has finally arrived. The extra ballast for the flat roof has also finally arrived. Oh, and we got the solar skirt here, which solar skirt very kindly allowed us to pick up straight from their headquarters. And I nearly forgot my hard hat. We take a very pragmatic approach to safety here, so we do a risk assessment at the start of each project, and we said, you know, whenever we're working down below the scaffold, we should be wearing hard hats just in case anything falls off. These are the flashings that we've been waiting for, and they basically go under the slates, and then the roof is properly sealed basically, and then we're using these clever little tingles to hold the slates in place, because obviously the nails usually go underneath these like that, and once you get another slate over you can't nail back in, so we use a special little device called a tingle. As you can see, pretty much all of the rails are on now. Well, they are all on, so it's literally just a case of putting the flashings around those roof hooks now and getting all the slates back. So I'm a big believer in many brains go into a project and then you get the best result, and I've got Lee's input on this one, and we decided to do cable tray, well, basket basically, rather than trunking. So Lee's just running the basket down here now, and then we're going to do all of the isolators next to the basket, and then we can loop the cables into the isolators and back out of the isolators into the inverter basically. So hopefully that will be a better result, and it just fits better with the overall industrial feel of this space anyway. Right, well, I nipped out to Screwfix/CEF/tool station to grab some bits. Guys have done well, so we've got the armoured cable in from the corner over there where the gateway's going, along the tray here and down to here. This main dropper basket is fixed, they've just got to do the bit across there. The PV Ultra is already cable tied along. We've just got to add the FlexiCon with the other 4 DC cores. So we're getting there, but the roofing is taking longer than we expected. The guys are struggling up there. They're not even half done with the flashings. It's just a very, very slow process. So I think we're gonna have to get them back tomorrow to finish it off, or we're gonna have to pull a late one. Do you want to tell us what's going on, Ryan?
We're just finishing off the top, putting these flashings in.
Said it was a bit of a nightmare though up there.
Yeah, these ones are just because there's a bit of adhesive from the top slate onto the one below, so sliding them up is not the easiest thing, but we're getting there.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, just trying to get these all level because got all the basket on ready, so I've left a bit of a gap because we're going to have to swoop round and have plans under here, but especially that one This is quite a thick 5-core, so by the time we get the bend and the armoured gland, let's bring it quite a bit above. But probably put a couple of cable bases here. Should look quite smart.
All right, so little update. Back at the hotel. Oh man, I'm exhausted. What a day. It has been interesting, to say the least. Very stressful, the whole roofing thing. I mean, not that I've been doing the work, but just the fact that it's been dragging on. Luckily, Ryan's kind of saving the day and coming back tomorrow to help, so that's good. But other than that, we're kind of on track, I think, so it's going okay. I'm absolutely wrecked. I'm going to jump in the shower and then go out for some dinner. See you tomorrow. So it's day 3 on the solar install, and today is battery day mainly. So myself and Lee are going to be down in the sweaty hot basement getting that battery on the wall. Now, as I said, we're making a dedicated video about that. So if you want to watch a deep dive of it, you can click the link here, and that video will be available a week after this one. But we're also doing the roofing still. As I explained yesterday in the hotel, we had a few challenges on the roof. It's taken longer than expected. So our roofing buddy has come back for an extra day to help. Luke's up there with him doing a bit, and hopefully by lunchtime, the roofing part will be done. We might even start to get some panels on the roof today. You know what we've just seen in the basement? A load of slates.
No way.
Yeah. So how's it going, Luke?
Well, I'm glad I'm not the one actually doing the slates, because I probably would have smashed about 20 by now. But yeah, it's very tedious, I would say.
Yeah, getting there. How many we got left?
22, no, 21 now probably.
21 now, yeah.
Well, if you want a nice easy break, you can always come and help us lift 79 kilo batteries down into the basement.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Apologies, the cameraman brought an 85mm lens with him, so this shot is incredible. This is incredible. This is a 600 quid Nipex MC4 crimping tool. Cue the B-roll. If you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you might remember that I absolutely love cable tying. I'm probably really strange, but there's something I find quite therapeutic about it somehow. Just neat cables, all the cable ties, they have to point the same way, everything has to be the same spacing. When you've got a nice bit of blank cable tray and you can neatly cable tie and everything, it's like a chef's kiss kind of thing for me that I just really enjoy about my job. There was this tool that I used to really love. I used to do like a lot of data work, so a bit like this rainbow spaghetti here, you see how it's all neatly cable tied down. However, it's not as neat as I would like it. I used to have this thing called a panduit, and it's like a cable, they call it like a cable comb basically. You can put up to like 25 cables in it, and then you run it along the cable tray, and it keeps the cables all in the same order. So if you ever need to remove one cable, there's no one cable that's twisted around the others, they're all uniform. And that's what I'm trying to do with these. I'm bunching them up in like a square of 4, and I'm keeping them all in the same order, so that if you ever did need to remove one, you're not having to untangle them and remove all of them. So we're currently filming the in-depth battery video for this SIG store battery system, and you can see we've got a huge amount of batteries. We've had to lift them all down into this basement. It's been a bit of fun, and it's super hot down here. I don't know what temperature it is. Must be about 35 degrees, something like that, I should think. We had a little bit of an issue with the gateway as well. They delivered the single-phase gateway instead of the 3-phase gateway, so we've got a courier heading out to us from Rugby to get the 3-phase gateway here in time, but it means we're not going to be able to film that until tomorrow. So there's all these little things, these complicated things that delay stuff, and it can be frustrating and tiring, but it's just part of the renewables business, to be honest. There are so many moving parts to these installs, and any one thing that goes wrong, it has sort of a domino effect, and it can be quite stressful at times. So it's day 4 on this solar install, and after a fitful night's sleep, we're back here after a big fry up in the Premier Inn and some coffee, ready to smash it for day 4. However, yesterday, after the cameraman left, we had a few issues. We stacked the batteries up super quick, it was fantastic, super easy and quick to install. And then when we came to fixing it back to the wall, we realized that we'd put it too close to the wall, and it should be 5 centimeters off of the wall to fit with the wall bracket. So we've had to unstack all the batteries Now we've got to drill new fixings, stack them all up again. That's real life. It doesn't always go perfectly, especially fitting a new product for the first time, but we've learned something that we will not forget for the next time, which is important, and hopefully you guys will not forget if you're ever doing one of these. The fixings that come with the kit are 100 mil long. This wall is 100 mil thick. So when I drilled the bottom fixings, I blew the bricks out on the other side. And I don't want to cut these down because that won't work. So I went yesterday to Screwfix to get some of these. These are 75 mil long and they're proper concrete anchors, so will be really solid. And I thought, oh, we'll use the existing washers that come with the fixings that they supply. However, the washers are too small. So I've got to go back to Screwfix and get some washers. All right, so it's now 7:55 in the evening. My main man Lee here is pulling a late shift with the boss in exchange for some Uber Eats. It's been a long day, so let me explain what's happened. So we've got the batteries all stacked up. That's good. I've been running in the data cables. All the AC and stuff is kind of connected at the battery end. We're now tackling the gateway. I am slightly delirious at this point, but we do have Taco Bell on its way, so, you know, every cloud has a silvery lining. Welcome to another episode of Artisan Eatery. I'm going to review our Taco Bell. The crunch is good. It's actually reasonably warm, which for Uber Eats is quite a rare treat. And there are some churros in here, so I'm going to shove this down. Hopefully it gives us some more energy and then we can get this BMS buttoned away. It's not even a BMS, it's a gateway. I'm losing my mind. So we've had to call in the cavalry today. We've got Harvey from the office who's come to help out. He brought down some extra blocks with him because we were short of a few. We're still waiting on about another 25 blocks from Rexel. So as soon as those arrive, we can finally lay these blocks out, and that means we can finish these strings. Callum's behind the camera today as well. He's going to be helping us lift some panels up onto the roof because Ruben and Luke are not here today. So it's a smaller team, but we're going to smash it. So, another neat or not neat, but this is a unique one, a BMS panel. We need to do a BMS connection to this. We've run a data cable. Actually, the management company who manage the BMS are actually going to connect it in later, but let's have a little look inside. Wow, that's pretty nice. I've got to say, that is neat. Like, that is probably one of the neatest neat or not neats I've ever done, which is quite awesome. I love it. So here's a brief overview of the system. Let's talk about the inverter. First of all, this is a 25 kilowatt three-phase hybrid inverter. Hybrid means that you can connect solar into it and it inverts the DC from the batteries into AC as well. So in the case of ours, we've put 4 strings of solar in, 74 solar panels, about 34 kilowatt peak of panels. All of that DC power comes straight in from the solar panels into here. It then feeds into the batteries and charges the batteries, and any excess basically overflows in the form of AC power out of this inverter into the rest of the house. If the house isn't using enough of it, it'll export it out to the grid too. And in this case, we set an export limit at the moment until we get the full export limit from the DNO. We set a 3.68 kilowatt per phase export limit on it. It has an Ethernet port that we've hardwired Ethernet to our customer's network switch, but it can also work with Wi-Fi, and it has a 4G dongle that comes with it as well. It can also communicate with other devices via RS485. So if you've got BMS or other things, you can integrate that too. The app is one of the first to integrate GPT-4 into it to analyze your usage data and to be able to help you get better use out of your battery system. So it's one of the most advanced in terms of software as well. Now, in terms of the battery modules, they are 8 kilowatt hour battery modules, and they're lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry. And they're stackable, which means that you can have 1 all the way up to 6 in a stack like this. We've done the max 48 kilowatt hours of storage in total. Now you can get slightly smaller modules as well, 5 kilowatt hour modules. So if you have a smaller property, you could go for 2 modules, for example, 10 kilowatt hours to start with, and then later you could expand and just stack it up higher and higher. So it is an expandable system as well, which is quite nice. Now these are our isolators. This is the AC isolator, which is the main isolator for the inverter. We have a generation meter here, which is a MID approved meter, which is a requirement of MCS for certifying this solar install. It's a 3-phase meter, and that's going to record how much energy the system has produced over time. It's bi-directional as well, so you can see how much has gone in and how much has gone out. Then each string of solar panels has a DC isolator, and we've labeled them all up. So we've got string 1, string 2, string 3, and string 4, and these are just for safety and for if you needed to change the inverter later or whatever, you can safely isolate all of the DC power from the roof. So if you're a customer who's looking to get an installation like this done at your home to get solar panels and battery storage, we'd be happy to help, and there's a link below where you can get to our interactive quotation form, and we will craft a bespoke quote just for you. Now, the quote form asks you questions, asks you for a little tour around your house and to take various photos and videos, and the reason is we want to gather as much accurate information about your property as we can to really give you the best system design possible, like we've done for our customer here. I did the initial quote for him without even having to come to site because of the software that we've designed at OpenQuote to be able to gather all of the customers' information to get the best quote possible for them, and it enables us to do designs for projects like this remotely, and then of course we come to site to confirm things once we know that the customer's serious. So if you're interested in getting a quote, link below. So here it is, 74 445 watt bifacial all black panels with a 25 kilowatt inverter and 48 kilowatt hours of storage and complete whole home backup across 3 phases, uninterrupted power supply in the event of a grid outage. This has got to be one of the most epic systems we've ever installed. So you know I was saying how much rubbish it takes for a solar job. Look at this is the finished result. A full skip, but that's not it. Check out the back of my van. We've had to cram 5 pallets in here, right? So we've got, I think, 2 pallets in there and 5 in here. It blows my mind how much packaging and how many deliveries there are and how much logistics are involved. And I think that has really come to the fore with this project because we've had so many logistical challenges with little things not arriving on time or wrong things being delivered, and it adds to the stress levels of the job. And I'm trying to find a solution to streamline things. It's going to be part of the business plan. Ultimately, I'd love to get a unit where we get everything delivered, get it all prepped and packaged, but then we need a pickup truck or a big Luton van or something to take things to site, and it's just, I don't feel like we're quite there yet. I think we need a bit more time and get more jobs over the line before we can take that kind of leap into investing on that scale. But we're certainly heading in the right direction. We've got some more really big projects coming up, which I'm super excited about. So the roofing part of this job was quite a challenge. We installed 72 roof hooks, and it took 3 days for 2 people because it's a slate roof, and slate is a nightmare to work with. So next time, I'm going to try and get the roofers in the week before to get everything prepped, all the hooks in, all the rails in, so that there's less time pressure on them and we're not waiting for that side of things to be finished before we can get the panels on. Now, these panels are unique in that they are bifacial solar panels and they're very high powered, 445 watt. Now, we usually spec a 440 watt panel, but actually they didn't have the ones that we normally spec, so we went even higher on this because this was what were available. But the back of the panel is what's quite interesting. I can't show you physically now, but I'll get it put up on screen. There are solar cells on the back of the panel as well as the front, and light is able to pass through the panel and reflect back and generate a little bit of power from the back of the panel as well as any power that comes from around the sides and edges underneath, particularly with the flat roof. Now, there's a finishing touch that we need to do here, which is put the solar skirt in. We've run out of time this week, so our team's going to be back on Wednesday next week just to finish off that, and a couple of other little finishing touches, but overall the system's up and running, it's commissioned, and it's generating huge amounts of power for our customer. Piping hot pizzas for the end of a project. Honestly, it's been a roller coaster week, but I just feel super proud that this project is done. I mean, look at it, it looks absolutely stunning. Customers over the moon. Like when you see the battery video, oh my goodness, that product is just amazing. And even now, this system is generating for our customer and pretty much covering everything that he's using in the house. I mean, 800 watts, considering it's pretty cloudy, that is mad. And the whole house is running completely off grid. I thank you all for watching. If you do enjoy videos like this, you're going to see 2 more pop up on the screen here. Why not settle in, grab a cup of tea and watch a few more. But either way, thanks for watching us here at Artisan. We'll see you on the next one.